Hi, my name is Elizabeth Moschella, and I'm going to be talking about autism spectrum disorder, which is also known as ASD or as autism. So, autism is characterized by a broad range of conditions of challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication. This poses challenges for those affected in terms of communication and interaction with others. There is not one autism, but many subtypes, and each person with autism can have unique strengths and challenges. This large range of subtypes is referred to as a spectrum. A combination of genetic and environmental factors influence the development of autism, and it affects an estimated 1 in 59 children. So, there are many symptoms associated with autism, more specifically with social communication and interaction, as well as restricted interests and repetitive behaviors. So not all people with autism display these phenotypes, but most will show several. So some examples of social communication or interaction behaviors are making little or inconsistent eye contact, as well as tending not to look or listen to people, failing to or being slow to respond to someone calling their name, having difficulties with the back and forth of conversation. They also get fixated on specific topics, talking in length about their favorite subject without noticing that others are not interested or without giving others a chance to respond. In terms of restrictive or repetitive behaviors, this includes repeating certain behaviors, words, or phrases, getting upset by slight changes in routines, having lasting intense interest in certain topics such as numbers, details, or facts, as well as being more or less sensitive than other people to sensory inputs such as light, noise, clothing, or temperature. Beyond these behaviors, people with autism also experience sleep problems and irritability. However, there are some positives that come out of autism as well. This includes being able to learn things in detail and remember information for long periods of time, being strong visual and auditory learners, and excelling in math, science, music, or art. So the exact cause of autism is still unknown, and it is not known to be an inherited disorder, and the genetic influence of the disorder is very intricate. The causes of autism may be divided into idiopathic, of unknown cause, which is the majority of cases, and secondary, in which a chromosome abnormality, single gene disorder, or environmental agent can be identified. So Autism Speaks is an organization whose mission is to promote solutions across the spectrum and throughout the lifespan for the needs of individuals with autism. And in 2004, Autism Speaks actually endorsed a project called the Autism Genome Project, which was built with the largest data set of DNA from families affected by autism by studying all 23 pairs of chromosomes to attempt to find a pattern. The Autism Genome Project performed linkage analysis, a method in which genes are identified as disease genes and are located along the genome. It is based on the observation that genes that reside physically close on a chromosome remain linked during meiosis. This study concluded that the chromosome 11 is an area of interest, and that specific regions in this chromosome may be more susceptible to autism. Furthermore, this study involved copy number variations. These are submicroscopic duplications, deletions, or rearrangements of materials in DNA, and the presence of CNVs has the potential to disrupt the function of the genes and contribute to various disorders. Many were found on the same chromosome, especially chromosome 15, and were found to be maternally inherited. A deletion was found in the gene that codes for protein NRXN1, which interacts with the neuroligens that help brain cells interact with one another. This is vital as the protein directs its neurons to form proper signaling pathways to the brain. It is also found that neurologen is critical in the release of a neurotransmitter called glutamate. This shows that abnormal glutamate function is associated with having autism. Glutamate is a powerful excitatory neurotransmitter that is released by nerve cells in the brain. It is responsible for sending signals between nerve cells and under normal conditions. It plays an important role in learning and memory. Abnormally high concentrations of glutamate can lead to overexcitation of the receiving nerve cell. The symptoms of this are aligned with the symptoms of autism. So, as mentioned previously, the exact cause of autism is still unknown, but the linkage and CNV analysis are helping to take steps towards finding the answer. So there is currently no cure for autism. However, it may be managed and shaped at a young age, even as early as preschool. There are multiple different types of therapy children can attend to help shape their behavioral patterns and alleviate some symptoms. More specifically, applied behavior analysis, or ABA therapy, can be the most useful. Children are known to have recovered from autism using this therapy, which breaks down every little action into tiny learnable steps acquired through memorization and endless repetition. A family hired ABA specialists from UCLA to attempt to help their sons who were on the autistic spectrum. This cost was between $10,000 and $15,000 before covering fees or for airfare or hotels, so these therapies can be very expensive. The specialist studied the boys, watching their patterns and idiosyncrasies, and gave the parents ABA directions. The way ABA therapy works is to give an instruction, prompt the child to follow it, and then reward him when he does. So in this specific case, when their child wanted something, they would hand it to them, but won't let go until they made eye contact. This way they learn when they want something, they have to look at you, and they began doing it without being prompted. Each boy received 35 hours per week of one-on-one therapy. This incessant pattern helped the boys learn proper behavior patterns that developed from their autistic ways. The boys both developed immensely, even becoming chatty and amiable to fellow schoolmates. Eventually, doctors concluded that the last vestiges of their autism were gone and that he was cured. However, this treatment is not foolproof. Many other autistic kids have gone through the same therapy and made no such progress. And then moving on to play-based therapy. This therapy is geared towards children who are typically hyperactive. The children play in the comfort of their own home with their own toys and with a specialist giving instructions. This type of therapy aims to improve behavioral characteristics such as language, eye contact, attention span, as well as social interactions like playing with other people. A study was conducted with a boy named Ahmet. Before the study was conducted, Ahmet failed to establish eye contact, speak, respond to his name, focus on a specific subject, carry an object in his hand, or fulfill simple instructions. Similar to ABA, this process works by first understanding the children's behavioral patterns and creating a program specific to the individual. In this case, it was a 5-hour session per week instead of 35. Where the two differ between ABA and play-based is their style of teaching. In the case of play-based therapy, the teacher would play with the child, doing things such as catching, watching, and taking turns blowing bubbles. These games would help Ahmet with eye contact and attention, as well as establish understanding for simple commands. As autism is a behavioral and social disorder, the goal was to improve these things. They wanted to provide him with a comfortable setting with objects that interested him, in which he perceived the person who was working with him as providing for his needs. In just 2 years, Ahmet learned eye contact, responding to his name, and expressed his emotions appropriately. This was all done by being able to play games that focused his attention on his behavior. However, much like ABA, these results are not foolproof. While Ahmet successfully overcame his autistic behavioral patterns, this type of therapy does not work for everyone. So for me, I chose to research autism based on my personal experience with autistic children. I wanted to learn more about the disease so I could further adjust my behavior to help them. I babysit a 7-year-old boy named Brandon, who is on the autistic spectrum. There are certain quirks he has, like how every time I leave the house, we have to say goodbye in his bedroom. He will only eat the green veggie straws, so I have to pick them out of the bag and put them on the plate for him. And when he is feeling restless, he'll pace back and forth, shaking his hands violently, like he's trying to dry them off if they were wet, and would mumble words to himself. He is specifically interested in animals. He knows so many facts about the most obscure animals. I've been babysitting him and his brother, who is not autistic, for many years now, and have seen him grow and change. I do not know the specific type of therapy he's engaging in, but once a week a teacher will come in and do exercises with him to try to improve his skills in language and appropriate expression. He is extremely intelligent, and if he could communicate properly and express to others what he needs or wants, he would be extremely successful as an adult. So that's why I think that more research should be done about this specific disease. I think that it affects so many people. 1 in 59 children is a lot. And there is no cure or not enough research going into it now that we don't even know the cause or even could propose cures to it other than therapy. So, thank you. And I hope that we can find a cure.